Hey guys, Buff from Gaming back bringing you another video, and today we're going to cover all of the AK builds in the game so far that I've discovered and made. So we're going to go through all the conversions, I'll show you how to do them, and we'll discuss some differentiating features of them all. So let's go ahead and get right into it. And to preface this, not everything is exact. The AKs are weird. There's a lot of different combinations, and a lot of the parts are not exact as far as like 90-degree gas blocks with the 74s and the standard AKs. A lot of things are like kind of in between and oddly off. So we're going to do the best we can. There's a lot of different builds here that are, again, not 100% exact, but let's get into it. And first to start, I'm just going to select a base AK-47. And you see this is our standard AK-47 that we get in the game. So this has the, the milled receiver. The dust cover is not a ribbed dust cover. And you can see this is definitely a model 1947. The plywood, 9-pound Ford steel, milled receiver. It has that old rustic look to it, especially with the magazines there. So this is the standard AK-47 we get in game. So what I'm going to do now is notice one thing is like the gas block on this and the dust cover is not ribbed, as well as it is a milled receiver. So we're going to see some differences as we get into some other builds. So standard AK-47 here. Now, what I'm going to do is just go to, I'll show you my armory quick for the AK builds that I do have. And you can see, first off, I have the Steel Curtain blueprint, which we'll use, the Revolution blueprint, which we'll use. Then I have my customs, which are the AK-12, RPK, AK-15, and the AKS-74U. So now that we've seen those ones, what I'm going to do is go to a private match. And I'll go through, I have some pre-built here and we'll talk them through. So first up, I want to cover the AK-74. So for this one, what I'm using is that Revolution blueprint that we discussed the other day in my video for the AKMS. And you can see here, Revolution blueprint is the one we got. It's very similar to what Farah uses in single player. And this was unlocked with one of the packages that you got in the store. You had to purchase this one, I believe it was 1,100 or 1,600 COD points. You can check that out. I'll link all the timestamps and videos below for the ones that we've already covered. So we're going to use this Revolution blueprint for the AK-74. So let me jump back to my actual build here. So you see some of the main differences are the muzzle brake is the AK-74 muzzle brake. The gas block is more of a 90-degree gas block that we see with the AK-74s, as well as the pistol grip and the handguard is also kind of a mix with an AKM and an AK-74. The rear sights, I believe, are still AK-47. And then, obviously, we have the 5.45x39 rounds on this. And I had to include a FSS close quarter stock for this one, just because if we take the stock off with this blueprint, you get this German-like MPI stock. And if we were to do a skeleton stock, we get the same stock. So I don't know if that's a bug. We kind of talked about this in the AKMS video. But just to give it more of a decent look to it, we'll go with the FSS close quarter stock. Unfortunately, we can't do just a regular. I was hoping if I unselected this, we would get a regular stock, but we don't. And if we did, we could make more of an AKM or a 74 mix. But again, not all the parts are exact. So we'll go with FSS close quarter. I'm using a granulated rear grip just so we don't compromise any other aspects of the weapon. Like I don't really want to include an underbarrel, but you could also do something like a GP25 grenade launcher. The 74s we're capable of mounting GP25s, 30s, and 35s. So you could do that also. And that's a pretty cool looking build too that I'm sure you've seen in a lot of other games. And then you can see also the AK-74 is a stamped receiver versus the AK-47 is a milled receiver. And also, if I were to remove the sights, you'll see that it is a ribbed dust cover. So the dust cover is that of the 74s. You see the ribbed dust cover has those ridges on it versus the standard AK-47 does not have. It just has a standard flat dust cover there. So that's the one other aspect that turns this into the 74. So let me just go ahead and I'll reselect my monocle sight that I had. And that's our AK-74. And obviously key for this is you need the 5.45x39 rounds. And I'm personally using the Revolution blueprint just because the handguard, the gas block, the muzzle brake are more consistent. Now, if we were to take off the muzzle brake, you still get that tape on there. The only thing that's going to change that is if you swap a barrel out. And like a Spetsnaz Elite barrel, you're reverting back to the AK-47 gas block. Same with all of these other ones besides the 8.1. So we want to just stay with the standard. That way we have something more closely resembling the AK-74. So again, this is kind of a 74 and an AKM mix as far as like some parts, but more so resembles an AK-74. So if we were to swap different variations of the handguard and maybe get a regular stock and swap the color or have different selections for like one stock. So if I wanted to do different versions of skeleton stock, maybe in the future we'll have like 5 choices of different skeleton stocks. That would offer more opportunities. We could change the color of a standard AK stock to have the rivets in it to make it more resemble an AK-74 or an AKM, and then we could even turn that into an AK-74M. But for right now, this is the muzzle brake. This is our AK-74 build. And the differences being that it is stamped receiver, has the rib dust cover, and obviously we're applying the gas block as the 74 gas block as well, and we're applying the 5.45 magazines to make it that AK-74, which did not fire the 7.62 by 39. It fired the 5.45 by 39 rounds. So that is our AK-74. So next, let me back out here, and I'm going to see, we're going to go and make the AKMS. So the AKMS is what we did the other day with our Revolutions blueprint. So what I'll do for this is I'm just going to reselect the Revolution blueprint for this, and basically we're going to have to keep the skeleton stock just because the AKMS had what we would see with more of a folding skeleton stock that we see on the other versions of the AKs. But again, like I said with the 74, we can take this off and it's still going to stay the same. So we have to go with that stock to make it an AKMS, but that's our only skeleton stock option for this particular build. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and for optics, I'm just going to do, again, just a monocle reflex sight for that Russian reflex sight. And then I am also going to go ahead and do, for the barrel, we'll keep the same. Laser, I think you can go ahead and put an attachment here if you want. It's not really visible from the side of the weapon, so that's really up to you what you want to do with it. And for the other items like the grip and other things, that's kind of more so personal preference what you wanted to do with it. I think the weapon itself, this basically is your AKMS. So it's very similar to the 74, but again, it does share a lot of mixed aspects. So I'll link that video for the AKMS down below. You can use another attachment wherever you would want that. And the AKM, obviously, in the AKMS fires the 7.62 by 39 millimeter. So we're going to keep those rounds here, and you get that looking magazine. You could also swap this to a 40 round if you didn't want that tape on there. But the tape, same as the 74, the tape for the muzzle and the barrel there is going to be the same with this particular stock. And in order to have the AKMS, we have the handguard, the gas block, things like that. So you need to keep the base stock of the weapon. So this is our AKMS, and again, it does have that same magazine as we see with the 5.45s. It's that plastic reinforced with fiberglass magazine that we saw on the AKMs and the AK-74s going forward. So that's also consistent there. So again, this is the AKMS. I'll put that link to the video we did the other day down below. And next, let's get into we're going to go to the steel curtain build. So using the steel curtain blueprint, which you unlock via one of the challenges. So let me go back to multiplayer, and we'll go to my barracks quick. And I'll link this video down below because we covered these already also. So this is the Warriors Code blueprint challenge. This one, 12 steps. This is so far to date, I believe, the most objectives for a blueprint challenge. Win 10 public matches. So that was the end. So get 2 public match wins, 75 kills, get 5 headshots in team deathmatch, 20 kills with equipment, capture 20 flags in ground war, get 20 point blank kills, get 5 wins in search and destroy, get 25 kills with kill streaks, get 40 kills with your secondary weapon, get 10 long shot kills, get 5 wins in gunfight, and then get 10 public match wins. So it's not specific what weapon you can do. So like for long shots, obviously use a sniper rifle, and kill streaks, I would probably recommend kill chain. That way you can just chain some together and you can get through that faster. And for the rest of these, you see it says get 5 wins in search and destroy. I think they might have changed some of this from the back when I did it, because there was some that were you had to win 10 objective-based game modes, and I think that's what they changed to search and destroy. So this used to be objective-based game modes, and apparently it was only working with search and destroy, so it looks like they changed it to that. So if we go back now and we look at our AK-15 build, so this is using the steel curtain blueprint that you unlock. This right here is the steel curtain. So what I have for blueprints is this is my AK-15 blueprint. So it's essentially the same thing. I just changed I changed the camo, and it's going to be the same with the AK-12, which we'll get into. So if we look at the steel curtain build, I'll go to my AK-15. I'll select. You need the steel curtain for this. And again, I just have camo on this, but the attachments are the Spetsnaz Elite Barrel. It's going to give you more of an M-LOK modernized handguard. And then the APX-5 hollow sight here. This is just a Russian holographic sight. You could also do a monocle reflex, or even something like the VLK 3x optic, which is also a Russian optic. The FFS close quarter stock. The 40-round magazines. So this is just going to give you, again, the modern plastic, more fiberglass reinforced magazine versus a standard rustic AK-47. Just really takes away from the modernized look of this particular weapon. So we'll go ahead and keep that. And then tactical foregrip. The good thing about this one is it doesn't impact your ADS speed, but if you are having trouble controlling this weapon, I would recommend the Ranger foregrip, just because it seems to assist more so in recoil control versus the Commando foregrip. The problem is you are going to take a hit with the aim, walking, movement speed and the ADS speed, versus the Commando foregrip you don't. So it really is up to you how you handle control, how you were able to control this weapon. Now, some key differences with this, obviously, as I said, this being an AK-15, you could even argue this is like an AK-103 or a very modernized AKM, maybe even a 203, since a lot of these share parts. Let me take the camo off here first, and we'll take a look at it. So if I go back to the weapon now, and I were to remove the sight, we'll see that this is a stamped receiver. It has the milled dust cover, and it has the AK-12, AK-15 pistol grip on there as well. So some aspects are the same. The receiver is very similar to the AK-12 and 15 as well, and that FSS close quarter stock is the closest thing we'll get to that modernized AK-12, AK-15 stock that comes with the weapon. It's not exact, but it's the closest we can get right now. So again, it does share the muzzle and the gas block, or that of the AK-47. It doesn't have the 90-degree gas block there, and I believe it still is using AK-47 sights and apertures versus the AK-12. And the other thing is you don't have the Picatinny rail on the dust cover, which we see with the AK-12s as well. So not exact, but again, it's as close as we can get for now. I'm hoping maybe in the future they come out with another blueprint that will kind of correct that and make it more so of an AK-15, AK-12 build. But for right now, this is the closest we can get. So this is our AK-15 using the steel curtain blueprint. Again, the steel curtain itself is basically the AK-15. I just changed up some attachments here. You can throw a camo on there if you want. The other differences are versus the standard AK-47, even though we're sharing the gas block with this, the leaf mount that I have the sights on, you'll see here that sight rail that mounts to the leaf of the weapon there is different on the standard AK-47 than it is on the steel curtain blueprints and the Revolution blueprint. So that's another aesthetic change to the weapon. And obviously the steel curtain has the pistol grip, which is that of the AK-12, AK-15 as well. So with that leaf mount, we're able to more so replicate the AK-12, AK-15 top rail and dust cover there, but not exact. So this is for the most part, especially by in-game purposes, because in-game, when you find the Steel Curtain blueprint, it is called incorrectly, I guess, an AK-12, and that would make this an AK-15. The AK-12 would have the 5.45 rounds, which we'll get into next. So this is the AK-15 as per in-game, and it does share some aspects with the real weapon IRL, but again, it does have some inconsistencies. So hopefully Infinity Ward will come out with additional blueprints to that in the future, which I'm sure they will. So next up, let's look at the AK-12. So this is going to be very similar. We're going to use the Steel Curtain blueprint again. And the only changes I made with this, we'll get into it here, it's essentially all the same changes. I'm using the same Spetsnaz barrel, and that's going to give us that more modernized M-Lock barrel. Again, you still have the AK-47 gas block and barrel, but that's, unfortunately, as we just discussed, just part of this weapon. The monocle reflex, again, it's the same exact thing as the 15 because it is the same blueprint for the Steel Curtain. So all these are going to be the same with the rib dust cover, the leaf mount. We're going to do the FSS close quarters stock again. And we'll skip out on the perk, rear grip. The key one here is the ammunition, 5.45 by 39. So the AK-12 in real life, same as the AK-74 as far as the 5.45 by 39 rounds. So this is going to increase your fire rate and your aim recoil control. So the cons being damage and range, but it's much easier to control this weapon with the 5.45 rounds on this. And you can see the camo here I'll show you a digital one to give it more of that Spetsnaz red camo. If you've ever played like Medal of Honor Warfighter or even Battlefield 4, a lot of these digital camos really remind me of those games, and this is kind of the Spetsnaz red. You could get a Spetsnaz Autumn in there too, and some of these really look a lot like those camos from Medal of Honor Warfighter and other games. So that's the one I went with this one just to give me, I like that Spetsnaz red in previous games. But this is your, again, you have that plastic fiberglass reinforced 30 round magazine for the AK-12, not exact AK-12 magazine, more so of a 74, but and like I said, I think in the future you'll be able to probably select different cosmetic versions of attachments without impacting the way the weapon functions. So maybe we can have 3 choices as far as if you wanted a P mag, an old school mag, or this kind of mag, and it would just no statistical change to the weapon, but it would just be purely cosmetic. And I think doing something like that would allow us just an extra level of customization. So this is our AK-12 based on the Steel Curtain blueprint. Same with the AK-15. The only difference is the magazine. And then again, I'm using the Merc foregrip here. I like the way that one handles on this particular weapon, but this is really personal preference. You can do something like a Ranger foregrip or even a Commando as well, depending on how you are at controlling the recoil and what kind of hits you want to take to the ADS speed. So that's our AK-12 build. Now let's get into our AKS-74U. So this one, again, is a little weird. We have to use the base AK for this. So if I strip this down, we have the base AK-47, which this one is the milled receiver. And you can see it obviously retains the 47 gas block and sights. So we could use the Revolution blueprint, but you're stuck with the Revolution's stock if you try to do a skeleton or a base. So it doesn't really fit what we see on the AKS-74U. So what we want to do to build this, I'll strip this once more, is the key attachments are the 8.1 compact barrel, and then the ammunition, again, needs to be that 5.45 by 39 millimeter, which we saw with the AK-74 models. So we'll do that, and then the stock will need to be the skeleton stock as well. So I'll link the video that we did with this one down below. These are your key attachments. I personally like a monolithic suppressor just because in other games I would always use a monolithic suppressor on this particular weapon. I like the look of it. Now for the optic, personally I'm just going to go with a monocle reflex. And one thing to notice here that we covered, see the leaf sight mount there for the rail is different on this base AK-47 versus the Steel Curtain and the Revolution blueprint. So you can see that, as well as the receiver. And as we discussed, the dust cover is not ribbed on this particular model, and it's a milled receiver versus stamped. So we would want to use the Revolutionary blueprint, but the skeleton stock is not right on that one, so we're kind of stuck with this. It's not that far off though. And then those are our 5 attachments. So that's your AKS-74U, and again, I'll link that video down below for these ones that we've covered as well. And now if you tried to build this with the Revolution blueprint, I'll just show you the inconsistencies here. So we can do the barrel for the 8.1. We'll just do a monocle. And you can see you get rid of the tape with that by putting that on the short barrel. Everything else, you're going to keep that tape on the barrel. And then the 5.45 rounds. Now we have the rib dust cover. It fits better, right? This is more of a 74U. But the problem being the skeleton stock. So this is where we run into the problem is the handguard is kind of an older, worn-looking handguard versus the pistol grip, which is the 74 newer-looking pistol grip, different color there. The skeleton stock is the problem, though. We have a German MPI skeleton stock, and if I select nothing, you still get that. So I can't do the standard skeleton stock that we did with our base AK variant of this. So that's really the downsides here is if you wanted a different pistol grip, but again, the stock to me just takes me out of this weapon, so I like to use the base AK-47 for this one. So that's this one here, our AKS-74U. And now, moving on, we're going to cover the AKMSU. So I'll go to this. This is a weird weapon. I'll link, obviously, pictures for this and stuff, but it's really hard to find actual pictures of this weapon, and the handguard itself is different with this weapon for some versions that I've seen. It has a very odd handguard for this, but essentially to make this, I'm using the steel curtain blueprint again, and if I strip that down to the base, you retain the AK-47 handguard and stock, but the base AK-47 blueprint, so we have our... Oh, what just happened? So we have our stamp receiver and our rib dust cover. And what we're going to want to do is the 8.1 compact barrel. The stock, we're going to want a skeleton stock. And then for the optic, again, I just am going to choose a Russian monocle for this particular one. And underbarrel, you can do a Commando 4 grip. And then you can go ahead and throw a grip on there of any kind that you wanted. So we'll do probably, since this is going to still fire the 7.62 by 39 rounds, we're going to want to control that recoil. So I would say recoil control with a rubberized pistol grip. And you could throw on the 40 round mags if you wanted to, but to retain more of the look of the AKMSU, this is the particular version that we want for this one. So you can see here, it looks pretty similar to the AKS-74U, but the main difference is being that it's firing a 7.62 by 39 versus the 5.45, and it's retaining, we have the skeleton stock, and it has the milled receiver and the ribbed dust cover as well for this particular one. So we have that skeleton stock on there. The handguard and things are not 100% accurate, but again, this is essentially your AKS-74U with 7.62, but we would call it an AKMSU, and we have that steel curtain blueprint to give us the right receiver, dust cover, and the pistol grip really isn't 100% accurate. We could more so use the Revolution blueprint for this, but again, skeleton stock would not be right, so we're going to have to just use the steel curtain blueprint for this particular one. So next we'll get into the RPK, excuse me, I called this RPD in my creative class, but the blueprint itself is the RPK. So we'll go, now for this one, if I go in and edit it, the standard barrel for this, you're going to want that 23-inch RPK barrel, so it's even labeled there, and it includes the folded bipod for this. So you could do a bipod for your underbarrel if you wanted the benefits of that, which is the crouch prone recoil control, and if you're in prone, this is basically a laser. But for me, I just didn't want to select it for this one just because we have the bipod included with the barrel. So cosmetically, it's the same. We're just not getting the benefit of the actual bipod itself. So we're going to do the 23-inch RPK barrel. And again, for this, I'm using the standard AK-47 base. So you can see AK-47, so we'll do the 23-inch RPK barrel. That's going to help us with our damage at range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. Laser will skip. Optic, this is, again, just personal preference. I'm going to go with the APX5 holographic sight. I like that on a lot of my Russian weapons. The stock, we want the field LMG stock. That's our heavy duty stock for aiming stability. The con is aim, walk, and movement speed, which you're really going to want to kind of use this at a mount position, which is why you may want that bipod. The perk you can skip. The rear grip, this is more so dependent on you, but the ammunition, we want the 75 round drum. And then underbarrel, again, you could do a bipod if you're going to be using this in prone and crouch more so. Otherwise, I would say you're going to want something like probably a rubberized grip just to control the recoil, since you still are firing the 7.62 by 39 rounds. But that is your RPK build. Another thing, you can make a Romanian RPK by doing just the 23-inch Romanian barrel, which has that built-in foregrip on the handguard itself. And there is our Romanian version of the RPK. Again, it's the same length barrel, both 23 inches. This one just has a built-in solid wood grip. Most stable and accurate barrel available. So if you're really going for accuracy, if you're not going to utilize a bipod on this, I would recommend this barrel just because you're going to be more accurate and sustained weight, slow movement handle. So you can sustain fire better with this though, even without a bipod. This is going to do your damage. So you can see versus these two, damage at range, bullet velocity, recoil control. It's all the same difference. Just you're getting more of a buff with this as far as accuracy. You're taking a hit in mobility, but you're more accurate. So that's the Romanian RPK build. Again, you just want that. Everything would be the same, 75 round drum mag and everything like that. And that's everything for that. So that's just the RPK Romanian build with that Romanian barrel on it. Next up, if I go back here, would be our, so this is a weird one. This is the Arsenal SAM-K47. So for this one, this is Arsenal SAM 7K. I am going to use the steel curtain blueprint for this because I think in real life this one does have a ribbed, it is a stamped receiver and has the ribbed dust cover. So again, we'll do the 8.1 compact. We will do, for the stock, we want no stock on this, and we're going to keep the 7.62 by 39 millimeter rounds. You can go ahead and throw like a 40 round mag on there if you want it. And then underbarrel, that's really up to you what you want to do for that. The handguard's going to be slightly different here since we retain the AK-47 old rustic looking wood for this short version. And then optic, again, I'm just going to go ahead and do the monocle reflex. So that's 4 attachments there. You can probably throw on a grip for recoil control or even an underbarrel attachment like a commando or something to help you out with that. So this is very similar to the AKS-74 and the AKMSU, just that it does not have a stock. So you're going for a very short variation of the weapon with the 7.62 rounds, and it's gonna be kind of a pain to handle a recoil, but again, if you want the right attachments on it, you can kind of change that up to make it a little bit better. So that is the Arsenal SAM 7K. And I think that really wraps up what we can do with the AK-47. Again, a lot of these are not exact since we don't have the right parts for everything. A lot of these, like I said, the gas block and things are a little bit different. So you can really customize these how you want. Again, this one being that we just put the 40 round mags on there, but really we can go ahead and do just a standard AK-47. It's very similar to the AKMSU variant as well. But those are, to my knowledge so far, all of the AK-47 builds. You can make different things look, you can make other weapons look similar to other AK variations or AK-like builds that there are out there. I know like there's the one from PUBG, I don't remember the name off the top of my head. The steel curtain looks very similar to that as well. But that's pretty much what we have for now. I'm hoping down the road we get like some different blueprints for maybe like an FSB Alpha AK-47 or something along those lines, even a more realistic AK-12 and AK-15 builds in some 74Ms also would be pretty nice to see. But that is it for the AK videos. I hope you guys enjoy. I'll link everything again down below. And this was a long one, tough one. Not everything's exact, but it's as close as we can get for right now. So this is everything as of Season 1. We're about halfway through Season 1. This is everything we have thus far, and I'm looking forward to see what other blueprints we'll get in the future. But until next time, this is Buffner Gaming with all the AK-47 builds you can get. And until next time, Buffner Gaming, out.